Hey besties, you're welcome to another episode of Curious Minds. I'm your host Clara and with me,
Clara Vanessa.
So how was your week? I hope your week has been going on great. So today we'll be diving into a very sensitive topic, and that topic is mental health among youth.
A very strong topic.
Very, very strong.
Yeah.
Yes. So now mental health among youth is a significant global concern that affects their overall well-being, their social interactions, and their academic performances. It encompasses a wide range of concerns that affects young people's actions, their behaviors, and their thoughts and feelings. Now, anytime we mention mental health issues, what is one thing that comes to your mind? That's depression. But can I tell you that depression is not just the only mental health issues that affect them, and we have anxiety disorders. When you see someone that experiences panic attacks, that's an anxiety disorder. That's excessive worry, excessive fear, or unease within the person. That's anxiety disorder.
There are also other common types of mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Like you said, depression is like the first one,
Mm-hmm.
but there are also other types. Like you have the eating disorder, you have
Like
social anxiety. Exactly.
Anorexia and bulimia.
Yeah.
Those are
The eating disorders. Do you understand? And then we have depression, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
We have social anxiety. We have so many other types. Trauma, like when somebody goes through one or two
That's PTSD.
PTSD, and then you just feel scared about the whole situation. Do you understand? But for most people feel like, oh, depression is the only
one
type of mental health
yes.
issues you have, and they forget that okay, there are other types. Do you understand? So yeah, that's just it.
Yes, that's true. And one thing I also want to mention again is the PTSD. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, when someone goes through a trauma, or maybe someone goes through something it may be a bad influence or a bad experience. Sorry, a bad experience. When that person tends to maybe come in contact with the person, or just try to come out from that part from that experience, the person tends to there's this feeling the person gets.
I feel like it happens mostly like in relationships. Let's say like if you had like
relationships or just in relationships.
Not just relationships together, but most times like in relationships. Let's say you had like experience where like your past relationship was very toxic. Do you understand? Even if the new person you are going into a relationship with is very calm, you still be having that doubt and feel like, should I do this? Should I? Do you understand?
I also just remembered rape victims also.
Yeah.
Rape victims, you know, when they get raped, they actually become very, very afraid of men.
Exactly.
You understand? So that's part of,
like, for example, I know of someone that was raped, and it hasn't actually been easy for her because she was raped by somebody that she trusted. Do you understand? And there was actually like a situation where she saw the person, and when she told me that, oh, Bulu, I saw this person, and I'm like, what did you do? I said she ran.
of course,
Do you understand? So that trauma is still there. Even when like the person tries to like call her or just talk to her, she still feels that fear because she was very, very little when that issue happened. Do you understand? So yeah.
Sure. That's my sympathies for her. Okay, now let's go to another point. There are also factors that actually influence mental health. And I would say that most mental health issues among youth are actually hereditary. They're also part of genetics. You can have someone in your family that is actually going through one or two mental health issues, and then you are born and you just inherit it. It's not your fault. It's the fault of that person. It's the fault of that person. But first factor I would say is that mental health issues can actually be inherited. We also have others also.
Yeah, personal traits, trauma, trauma keeps coming in. Do you understand? And they also have like brain development. That's like among the adolescents, like from the age of like let's say 15 or 13 to like 19. Between this age, that's when you see like some teenagers growing wide. most of them are actually introduced to drugs at that particular age.
Yes, it's true. You know, at that point, they're like still trying to learn about themselves, and they're still trying to grow, and their brain is still trying to pick up on things and trying to also develop on its own. So anything around them, they just tend to
like
do it,
especially when they have, oh, my friends are doing this thing, I also want to do it. So that trait just comes in between that age, like brain development.
Yeah, true.
And puberty too.
Yes, puberty when you're growing. When puberty comes in with hormonal changes also, when your hormones are beginning to change, they're beginning to develop, you also tend to also do things that even yourself you don't even want to do them, but you see yourself doing those things.
Another factor too is body shaming. I feel like kind of disturbs
the social media,
social media and cyberbullying. Disturbs too.
That social media is like a very, very big factor, because you can see on social medias when people are, someone will post a picture. I remember, oh my goodness, it's actually very funny, but at the same time it's not funny. I remember a video that a woman posted on TikTok, and the woman was like, the woman has a big figure. I won't say she's fat, but she has a big figure. And if you see the comment section, oh my goodness, I can't even repeat what they were actually saying. They were insulting the woman. And you know, that kind of thing can actually bring that woman's self-esteem down.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the end of the day, the woman can actually develop a mental health issue.
Yeah, definitely.
I also remember another one where a lady actually committed suicide on TikTok itself. She committed suicide because they were body shaming her on TikTok. I'm like, and people are still doing it.
And most of all these comments or hate speech actually coming from women. That's like the most very like the annoying thing. It's not coming from men. Do you understand? It's coming from
men
women.
To their part of it.
Men to their part, but most of it's actually coming from women. Do you understand? You see, like a woman is like telling her fellow woman, "Ah, you look ugly. You look this. You're so dirty. You're so this." Because as far as like women supporting women, you're supposed to like be there for her and stuff like that. Like even myself, I remember there was one certain time when I was in school, and then I have like a classmate of mine that used to like tell me, "Oh, Vanessa, you're too big. You look very fat. Only you sit down on the chair and occupy the whole space." Do you understand? So that period, it was actually very annoying.
Yes.
But at the same time, I just had to like overlook the whole thing and be like, I beg, just leave it. You wish you were like me. Because this same girl is actually very tiny. Do you understand? So I'll be like, it's sign of healthy living. It shows that, okay, yes, my mom is feeding me well. You that you feel like, oh, your mom is feeding you well. You should have been fatter by now. Do you understand? Even last week, someone still like stops me and was like, "I'll work on your stomach." She gets.
Wait, someone stopped you?
A stranger? Just like not really a stranger, sharp, but the person just walked up to me and was like, "Work on your stomach." And I was looking, and I looked at the person, and this person is actually like an elderly person. And I looked at the person and I'm like, I reserve my comments. Let me not be rude, because the next thing I'll be like, I'm okay, sorry, stuff like that. You get? I just looked at the host and I'm like, when I even told my sister about, my sister was like, you need to walk up to that person, you need to do that. And I'm like, she was like, here in abroad, like here in the US, you don't do such things. And I'm like,
that's different.
That's different. You get? We're in a different country, different world, different culture and all. So I just looked at this and I'm like, I won't let that one get to me. Do you understand? If you feel like my stomach is big, there are also people out there that have bigger stomach than me. Do you understand? I just used to tell myself, a sign of healthy living. Just leave me alone. Do you understand? And it's not like the stomach is big like that though. But you know, some people just want to talk. Do you understand? They just want to like talk notes, just put their mouth in matter that doesn't concern them.
And one thing I've noticed about Nigerians is that most times when they insult someone, they feel like it's just cruise. So you shouldn't like take it serious, you understand? But then some of these insults, they're just so much that you can't even take it as cruise, you understand? A lot of people, my goodness, Twitter, like I said before, I've said it so many times, it's like the home of insults, where people will gather to talk about your matter. If your mind is not strong, you can't survive that app at home. And a lot of people don't understand that this kind of things are one of the factors that actually influence mental health issues,
Yeah,
especially among youth,
depression.
especially
Yeah,
among young people.
exactly.
You understand? So I want to talk about the consequences of mental health issues now. Now, a lot of times when someone is facing like now depression now, we've heard a lot of suicide stories
Mm-hmm.
where, especially if you go deep into their stories, you find out that they're depressed. It's because of depression they decided to commit suicide,
Mm.
or um they're depressed because of maybe someone did something to them, and then
And
it's
most of
just
them feel
leaving
like they are
them.
not loved. Like
Exactly, they're
people,
not
nobody
loved, they don't
loves
have
them.
support system
Do you
around them,
understand? Yeah.
and then they tend to take their whole life, they unalive themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the consequences of mental health issues,
Yeah.
suicide. And I would say another one is self-harm.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
far.
people have, they love causing harm to themselves. They just take up a razor, maybe a razor blade,
Yeah.
and just
I had
cut
someone
themselves.
that, like, she was very depressed. She was staying in the same compound with me,
With you
very depressed, and she just woke up one morning. And when my mom went to check up on her, and then we saw marks
on
on
our
her
hand.
body, on her hand, and then we saw razor blade, like new pack. She used every, she was trying to like just cut herself. And when I remember,
Mm-hmm.
my mom was like, "What is your problem?" And she was like, "She's tired of life. She's tired of this. She's going through a lot. Skinny fucking call." And I just looked at the whole thing and I'm like, depression
Depression is
is
a
is
really deep
actually
thing.
very,
So,
very
mm,
deep. Do you understand? But what I used to tell myself is that whenever I feel like, oh, I get depressed, I always look for something to like just fix my mind on. Do you understand? Like
mm,
probably eat. Do you understand? Maybe like I feel like whenever I'm down, whenever I'm very, very depressed, that's when I tend to like eat more.
eh.
She get especially
Yes, it's
something
true.
very
Some people are
sugary.
like that also.
Yeah. So whenever people be
Yes.
like, ah, Vanessa, I'm like, "Ah, depression will see me and run away. Oh." Because once I just tend to like eat one or two things, I'm
Mm,
fine. Do you
mm.
understand? I'm just okay. Depression, it's not easy to. Do you
Yeah, it's
understand? It's
not
not easy.
easy. True, it's not easy. And you say another consequences would be substance abuse. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, when they say that if you use drugs, you get high, you experience
You
joy, you experience
exactly.
happiness. So because of that, maybe 1 minute moment of joy and happiness, they want to
Take
use
it.
it again and again and again. And at the end of the day, they become
Become
addicts
addicted, become addicts, and it's
and they
always
start
very hard
abusing the
to
drugs.
stay away
It's
from
very, very,
such.
very hard.
It's very
Very
hard.
hard.
It's
And
not easy
most of
to.
this substance that they use actually causes them, most of them, they actually cause them to go to run mad.
Yeah, like I think like loud. I think
Mm,
it makes them
you
psycho
know all
and
these drugs.
no, it's not about doing all these drugs. You get like how do I put it? Like, I remember as at last year when I
Mm,
went to my grandma's place, Ilupeju as is that area. So this is a very, if you are familiar with Shomolu, Barika, all those
area,
places,
all
all
those
those areas,
places.
you know
Yes.
that this is what you see like on a daily basis. If
Mm,
you see, if you are seeing someone that they are trying to like revive the person, if you ask, you'll be like,
mm,
ah, Olo Mulaud, Olo Shekiniko, or Kolos, all those things. Do you understand?
yes,
So it's
yes,
something you
yes.
see every day. Do you understand?
Mm,
You just have to like learn a lesson from that and be like, okay, and something even happened. So it's like right in front of me. So the guy took, I think he said it's that loud or close, I don't know, Sha. And then he just stayed on the floor like someone that was about to die. Do you understand?
mm,
And then I asked my aunt was like, ah, he took something. I felt like, ah, is this how this used to do? Mom was like, my aunt was like, if you want to know, go and take it. Because you're asking me. Do you understand? But it's not easy actually.
it's
And if
not
you see
easy.
this guy, very handsome boy. Oh.
Mm,
So I was not like, what would have made this guy to go to that extent of taking this thing and then now start misbehaving on the streets?
mm.
Do you
Yeah,
understand?
most of them is maybe they are feeling one kind of a way that probably they are not happy, or they're going through something maybe within themselves, and they just
Yeah.
feel like, oh, let me just take this thing.
And then
And you
from there you
understand.
just lose your
Exactly.
mental
So
health and
that's like the reason why some people actually start smoking cigarettes, because they feel like once you take that first puff, you feel
yeah, you
high,
feel I
you
am
feel,
fine and stuff.
that kind of thing. So now there are ways that we can actually promote mental and positive mental health among youth. And I'll say that the first one would be
Self
getting, maybe seeing,
awareness.
yes, self-awareness, of course. I think that this, especially in Nigeria, I don't think mental health is taken really, really serious here in Nigeria. A lot of people
Mm-mm.
feel like there's nothing like having a mental health issue here in
The only time
Nigeria.
they take it serious is when they see you mad on the street. That's
Exactly.
the only time.
If they see you running mad around the street, that's the only time they
That's
say,
the only time
okay,
you're like,
that
okay,
person has
this
a
thing
mental
is
health
serious.
issue. A lot of people don't even know that most of the things that they might be doing is actually part of mental health issues. Like like you said earlier, eating disorders. Most people don't know that them depriving themselves of food for a long period of time is actually an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That's anorexia. You
Yeah.
understand? And a lot of people who don't know that having panic attack is also a mental health issue. You understand? So I just feel like there should be self awareness.
Yeah.
People, I just feel like the country
And
should take it
there
up
should be
on
someone that
themselves
you
that they should.
talk to.
But even for self, the country too needs to take it seriously. You understand?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So to create, like, you can even create adverts on TV where you talk about this mental health of a thing.
It
You
shouldn't even
understand?
be a
And
mental
make
health
people
day.
aware of it.
There shouldn't be. There should
Yeah,
even
I
be a
think
mental health day.
there is, but like international
Uh,
wise, there is, but I don't know if it is in Nigeria because, like I said
and there
before,
should also be
it's
like
not taken easy.
activities that
Yes,
you do, like
activities like
activities,
camping.
social events, social
Yes.
gatherings for people that are experiencing one or two mental health disorders.
Mm,
Do you understand? They come
mm.
together, express themselves, talk out,
Yes,
like talk about a
exactly,
lot of things. Do you
exactly.
understand? So it's not just let's not just be like, oh, you have mental health issues, or maybe it's a spiritual thing, or maybe go and see your pastor or your village people that are doing you stuff like that. Everything's not about spirituality. Do you understand?
Exactly. It is
You
not
just have to
about
sit down and do the proper
steps. Take the
steps,
proper
take proper
steps.
steps. You understand? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you know you are probably going through one or two, try to like have someone to talk to. Do you understand? Talk to someone about it. Exercise too. Exercise daily.
Mm,
Probably you going through one or two mental health disorder issues
mm.
might probably because oh your muscles are kind of weak or tired. They just need to like stretch out. You get to just do all
Mm.
of that.
I also feel like there are also people that we call therapists. These are people that are the ones that are in charge
As
of this
like
kind of
professional support.
professional support. You know, you can, if you see yourself in that aspect or in that gathering where you are feeling like you are, like you're not doing well, your mental health is just not fine. You can actually go ahead and talk to someone
Yeah, talk to
that has
someone.
that professional
Like a
professionalism. You
mental health
understand?
aider.
Who's that?
A mental health aider.
Who's that? I don't know. You
A
explain
mental
it
health
now.
aider now, like someone you walk up to, talk
Okay.
to. So I feel like when the person sees that okay, your case is above his or own capacity, then the
Okay, then
person
they'll refer
refers
you
you
to
to a doctor
the
or a therapist.
therapist. Oh,
She
okay,
gets
so that they can diagnose you.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay, I understand now. You would have explained it, but it's not everything I know.
Sorry about that.
When you notice that a friend or a family is having these withdrawal symptoms, like they're withdrawing from you, like someone that you know is very joyful, very accommodating, like the person always wants someone around them,
Mm-hmm.
and you see them withdrawing, I just feel like you should actually, instead
Take
of being
necessary
like, oh, the person
precautions.
doesn't want to talk, maybe the person doesn't feel like talking,
Mm,
just like go ahead and talk to the person, because
exactly.
you just don't know, maybe the person just wants someone to talk to,
Yeah,
someone that the person can actually share what he or she is going through,
yeah,
because most times those kind of things can actually end up being something bad.
yeah. And
You
most people
understand?
too won't want to like talk
Mm.
because they don't want their matter to now become
Public gist.
gist to other people. So
True.
most people just tend to be like whenever they are going through shit, they
Mm.
just tend to like keep it to themselves. Do you
Mm.
understand?
I think
Keep it
in
to
that
themselves.
situation, you should try to prove to the person that you can actually be trustworthy,
Mm.
for that person to spill out what he or she is going through. You understand? So, like they said, a problem
A person
shared
shared
is
is
a
a problem
problem half
solved,
solved. You understand?
but it's
So,
not in this generation. No.
but you just never know.
They get.
You just never know. So, I just feel like you should act. If someone that is going through mental health issues needs a support system, so you should be
Mm.
that support system to them. You
Mm-hmm.
should have, it's not even me, sir. I'm not the kind of person, I don't know how to console someone. I'm not the kind of
Mm.
person that knows the
Like
right
if
words
I
to
talk to
use
you
to
for like
console
the
someone.
first 3 days, I'll just let you be.
To be
I don't
honest,
have
that's the
that
kind of
time.
person
I
I
don't have
am.
that time
I
to
don't know how
start.
to console someone, but at the same time, I just feel like just being around the person might actually do good for that person, especially
Yeah.
if you're someone that doesn't know how to talk, doesn't know
Can
how
check the
to
person
console
out.
someone. Exactly, just
Just
check on
like
the person,
change of
be like,
environment.
how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Or maybe take the person out. You
Yeah,
understand?
change of environment.
Exactly,
Okay.
change the person's environment. So I just feel like that's like another way that we can promote positive mental health. There's also a Nigerian mental health helpline that you can actually reach out to if you're going through one or two things. If you see yourself developing a mental health issue, you can actually reach out to them and ask for help. We also have the Nigerian mental health helpline that you can reach out to if you have one or two issues that you're going through. So if you see yourself developing a mental health issue, you can reach out to them and ask for help. So
Yeah.
that's it for today. Vanessa, do you have anything to add?
And my colleague has said, if you're going through anything whatsoever, if you feel like, oh, your mental health is at stake, or you're beginning to like lose interest in some certain things, speak up. Don't try to
Don't be
bottle it.
silent.
Don't be silent.
Exactly.
Don't say, oh, it is where I'm fine, and then at the end of the day, we just hear that,
Nothing
Otilo.
has happened.
Do you understand? Speak up. We've come to the end of today's episode on Curious Minds. Hope you enjoyed today's topic, and we'll come up with another interesting topic next week. Like we said, speak up, don't be silent.
Do well to follow us on our social media platforms at View Radio and on Facebook at View Radio Media. We hope to see you next week. I remain your host, Clara Vanessa.
Vanessa came today.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.